Charley Steiner, current play-by-play announcer for the LA Dodgers and famed broadcast journalist, came back to Bradley University this week for the annual Charley Steiner Symposium. He graduated from Bradley in 1971 and began hosting his favorite sports show in Davenport, Iowa. He went on to join ESPN in 1988 as an anchor on SportsCenter. Steiner's good friend Larry King joined us this week as panels on various communication topics commenced. Josh Smith has more.
The third annual Charley Steiner Symposium was held yesterday at Bradley. Many people from various backgrounds came to speak at different panels throughout the day to give insight and perspective on various topics.
The business has morphed from, in this town, there were 4 AM radio stations, 3 FM radio stations, and 3 television stations. That was it. Nobody then had any idea how this industry would evolve into what it has become.
During the What You Can Do with a Postgraduate Education, Bradley President Gary Roberts spoke on the panel.
If you can come up with the with the money to pay for the tuition, and you can afford the opportunity costs of taking 2-3 years out of your life to go get an advanced degree, I think it is more than worth it.
Rob Tobias was on hand for the sports public relations panel. Rob spoke about his early years at ESPN, how no one knew what ESPN would be.
It was a dream job, to be sure. I could not wait to get to work every day, pick up the phone, and that's what I did. I was a salesman for ESPN. We had dozens and if not hundreds of on-air people, radio, writers, and it was an exciting time.
Julie DeCaro spoke about how much of an impact Twitter makes on social media during the New Media Challenges and Opportunities panel.
Twitter now, I think it's impossible to work in sports media and do your job without Twitter. Teams are breaking news on Twitter. The Cubs broke the Jose Quintana trade on Twitter. That was the first time anyone heard of it, and the beat writers didn't even have it. So you have to be on there, and you have to be able to take in a lot of information pretty quickly.
The evening ended with Larry King, Charley Steiner, and Jim Hiller. The panel was the rise and fall of ESPN.
Journalism is very expensive. Talk is cheap. So you can get a half a dozen hosts to scream at each other all day, fill some of those 8,700 hours, and it's done. But if you are trying to program a show like SportsCenter with sending correspondents out and researching and real journalistic enterprise, that's a hell of a lot of money. When you have those talk shows, it's cost contained. You know exactly what it's going to cost you every year. You're going to pay somebody some amount of money. You got a guy who runs the prompter, you got a couple of cameramen, you got a couple of producers. That's cost contained. But when you are sending correspondence...
King came to Bradley to announce an endowment donation for underrepresented students that will be used in scholarships in perpetuity. If you would like to see any of these panels in their entirety, they will be up later this week in their entirety on BUTV News' YouTube page. For BUTV News, I'm Josh Smith.